Well, hi. Listen, I want to tell you about some new data I found at the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve always collected this data, but it's really what's called wealth data. There's two ways of measuring, how healthy you are as a person, financially healthy, as you are as a person, uh, or even as a country. One is through income. So, how much income are you collecting every year or whatever. So there's the income. That's the money coming in from your whatever it is, work most likely. Now the other way is wealth. Wealth is what assets you have. So when somebody says you're wealthy, it doesn't really mean that you could be making $1 million a year and not be wealthy according to wealth statistics, which are the assets. So what's the value of your house, your stocks, your car, all the stuff that you own, and what is the value of that minus what you owe? So you take like your house, maybe worth $500,000, but you owe $300,000. So your wealth is $200,000, and you have stocks or whatever you have. Well, the statistics come out. See, now there's a lot of data, a lot of talk about what's called income inequality. And that's really how we measure how healthy our country is. And it's controversial because the people who say income equality doesn't matter are usually the people who are very wealthy and think they got it fair and square. But there's other data now that's showing that the income inequality is causing all kinds of different problems, and that we have to sort that out. And even conservatives are talking about that. Now, there's an article today in the Washington Post from a conservative columnist who I've been following for 30, 40 years. And he talks about this and how it's going to be a very hot topic in the next couple of years because the rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer. So here's another way that they quantify that, and it's on it's on the wealth statistics at the Federal Reserve. They only started keeping this data I think about 30 years ago. And so it shows here, the study shows some striking gigantic numbers are. In 2018, there was that Americans owned $114 trillion in assets. $114 trillion. I think the federal government is only like $4 or $5 trillion. So this is $114 trillion in assets. Okay, and that includes 26 trillion in housing and real estate. So out of 120, 26 is real estate. 26 is in pensions and 401 accounts. 22 is in corporate stocks and mutual funds, and 6 trillion is in durable goods. So out of 114 trillion, you have 26 in real estate and 26 in stocks and 20 in corporate stocks, pensions. So pensions, stocks, and real estate is where the majority of it. And now you also have, of that $114 trillion, 15 trillion is they owe money on. So it comes down to only 100 trillion of wealth. And that's what we're talking about. How wealthy are we? And it seems that the data is the same way on wealth as it has been showing for income. In other words, the whole country is increasing in income because we're generating more income. However, about 50% of the people in the country have not seen their income raise hardly at all for the last 30 years, and all the increase in income is going to this top category. That's why the income inequality is talked about a lot. So it's the upper crust. Here's some data. In 2018, net worth of the richest 10% of Americans represented 70% of all the wealth in our country. So last year, if you took just the top 10% of Americans, they owned 70% of the wealth. Now that's not income, that's like real estate, stocks, stuff like that, how wealthy you are, 70%. Now that went up from 61% in 2019. So in those 30 years, the top 10% increased from 61% to 70%. Now the bottom 50%, okay, which holds no net worth. So that means 50% of us are living hand to mouth. We don't have net worth, okay? We have no net worth and stuff like that. And their wealth tumbled, okay? They used to have 4% of all the net worth was owned by the bottom 50%, only 4%. So the top 10% owned 70%. The bottom 50% used to own only 4%. In the last 30 years, that went down to 1%, okay? So it went from 4% to 1%, and the top 10% went to, this is a lot of percentages, they went from 60 to 70, and the bottom 50% went from 4 to 1. So that's shrinking. So that's why I say in the headline here, if you feel like you're the only one who's shrinking wealth, no, half the country is shrinking in wealth. And to me, what frustrates me is that, the country is growing. You look like you look at the GDP, all the figures that we count for. Is the economy growing? It's growing every year. Absolutely. But who's getting it? That's the key. So the big losers over the past 30 years could be termed the broad middle class, with those wealth starting at medium income point and going down to the 90th percentile. So that's what's going on. And that's why, this new report on how to create wealth, that's why I'm trying to show you government programs that help you create wealth for the long term. There's a lot of ways. I mean, we need income to live, right? So you get jobs and ways to generate income, and then you generate wealth too. So whether it's real estate wealth, whether it's having a business, creating a way to generate income through a service or something like that you have more control over, that other people can't hire and fire you, that you have control over your life. And that's what I'm trying to show in this new wealth report. Now it's going to be available for sale to the public, in a few days, I hope, but it's free to members of Lesko Help. So if you're part of the Facebook group for Lesko Help, I'll send you this report free. It's like 140 pages and shows you all the sources for starting little income opportunities in your home, what income opportunities are in the government to you to take advantage of. Because believe me, what I did for many, many years is helping rich people take advantage of these opportunities. They knew, they would hire me and I'd charge them thousands of dollars to find these things, and they'd take advantage of them. And that's why for $20 now, I want to make sure everybody knows about these, not just the rich folks. I mean, we live in a democracy for everybody to know about these things. So if you want to, take a look at this. If you Google Washington Post, the $100 trillion question, and you'll find this article about the data. You want to find the data. It's a little harder to read, but that data from the Federal Reserve, who are great statistical agency in this country that has this kind of data on wealth and income and things like that. And it gets lost in the woods, and a lot of data can be manipulated to show what you want to show and things like that. But that's what, at least in government agency, they don't have a political bent, or they're not supposed to. So you always have to be careful, no matter who it is, but you have to start somewhere, And if you say everything is bad, well, then you'll do nothing, But you've seen from your own life, if that is shrinking, this data shows that you're not the only one. And what I'm trying to show you is options to get out of that spiral. And if you're not interested in wealth like that, assets, and building your own way of generating your own income, is that how to get the education and training for free that you are worth more in society. And that's available, and available in the short run. If you're in an old industry, it's going to shrink. Like people say, this administration came in and was going to create factory jobs. Well, factory jobs are shrinking no matter what. We're actually creating more goods and services out of factories than we ever have, but we're doing it for less people, with less people. So that's a shrinking place. So where is the growth place? So that's whether it's healthcare, there's IT stuff, or whether, so to get in one of these things that are growing and not something that's shrinking. is the important thing. And what the government has is programs to help you do that, help you finance it. So that's why, as a member of Lesko Help, tell me where you live and what state you're in, and I'll send you a free report that shows you all the places for you to get free education and training to get a better job. You can do this part-time, full-time, or whatever. Yeah, that's what I want to do. And this is how to compete. And we're living very long time now. And that's why I think the people middle age, 50, 60 years old that got caught in this shrinking economy, in the old economy, have to start learning the new economy, because that's what's growing. And this is where the hurt is, I feel, in our country. I mean, you see statistics of people dying, actually committing suicide, opioid abuse and all this. If you're between 50 and 65 and you are the only demographic in our country where your lifespan is getting shorter, and it's usually from self-inflicted. So that's why you need hope. You need skills and talent and things like that. And let me show you where that is, and just tell me what state you're in, and if you want to get a better job, or if you want to see this report on wealth, how to create assets for yourself and what opportunities are there, and I'll send you either of those for free if you're a member of Lesko Help. So thanks again for putting up with me, and I hope to be here for 20 more years. And I don't wonder what the hell I'll look like in 20 years. I'm starting to look like an old fart already. Well, I certainly don't remember as much, but you remind me when I screw up, okay? Thank you.